Alright everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Minecraft with CryinMo, your host and intrepid builder, designer, breaker, butcher, all that stuff. So we're heading out here, guys, to see Chester, and well, after last episode, which was our gold house fabrication, I was looking forward to having a sort of a relaxed, laid-back episode where we could just, one of those where you could kind of tool around and we could just like do a little fixer-upper things or a little tiny detail work, and just have sort of a relaxed episode out in the world. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how we want to look at it, I discovered something that is going to cause us to maybe actually do a little bit of excellent work here. What's going on? Come on, man. Work for me. There we go. Okay, look at this guy. This guy will not go in his house. I tried to get him in there. He just doesn't want to go in there. How many times have you guys seen me do that? How many times? Okay. You in there, Chester? You in there, buddy? Hello, sir. Hello and welcome to another day in the overworld. Yes. Okay, guys. I should just put up some ladders and be done with this, since I can't seem to make this happen. Alright, well, that was a travesty of an opening. Okay. Anyway, I'm glad that you guys are back here. I'm glad that we're back in the world. I'm glad we're not in the nether. We came to see Chester, because I came to see him a little while ago, because as I mentioned before, when I died, the last, is that guy really going to sit there and knock on the door all day? Yeah, probably. So as I mentioned before, I died. Lost, basically I'm down to my last suit of mending gear and my last tools that are mending. But Chester here is locked out. Oh, he's opened up here a little bit. He's locked out of the paper trade. Let's see if we can trade him some books here. Are you going to open back up for me, sir? Come on. There we go. Okay, so I did run into it's doing. He's working fine for us now, but I did run into an issue where I had to make some of these other books, and I'll explain that in just a second. This trade locked out. The book trade was locked out. In order to unlock these two trades that were locked up, this was the next best trade I could find. Now, this isn't too bad. This is just a book and a feather and an ink sac to make one of these books, and then of course we can make a stack of them. As you can see, I'm able to trade again with him, but I'm afraid that he's going to lock all that's going to lock back up again, and I'm going to have to do this trade again to get the mending books out of him. And do we even have enough? Nope, we need 18 emeralds to get a trade. But I was, when I went to make those books, I discovered something about my supplies back in Camelot County. I don't actually have any feathers anymore. I used all the I had like 4 feathers, and I guess I had 8 feathers, and I used those to make the written books to trade with Chester there. And so now we're out of feathers, and I don't have a chicken farm. I don't have any feathers, and I was like, oh, this is why you need feathers, to make quills and to make written books and things like that. So I guess in order to make more books so we can trade with Chester, we need to build a chicken farm today, which is actually fortuitous in a way, because we are actually running out of fish and running out of food to eat, which doesn't really matter because now we've got our golden carrots going, which is great. But at the same time, golden carrots take a long time to grow and whatnot. So I've got a few stacks. I'll show them to you here in storage. But, it might be nice to have our fried chicken delivery service installed and up and running. And that's exactly what I wanted to make. Oh, I planted some carrots here. See, so I've got quite a few here. This is still wheat on this side, but yeah, I wanted to harvest up a bunch of carrots so we could make a bunch of golden carrots all in one throw up there in our gold house. And then we'll have a food for a while. Oh, and yes, look what we have here. That, my friends, is the man with the yellow hat, because there's Curious George. So I do have some carrots here. And in our food chest, I have a lot of carrots here, ready to go. But I've only got, 6 or 7 stacks here. And we've only got a row of fish here. So, yeah, we need more food. And but we really need the feathers. That's really the thing, because I literally have no no feathers. And so the reason I want to make a fried chicken delivery service versus just a chicken farm like sitting right here is, man, I cannot stand the noise the chickens make. I can't stand it. So we need to put the chickens somewhere where they won't bother me. And guess where that is? Yeah, way down here. So we're going to build a chicken farm down here. It's a very simple. We're going to use, just your very typical lossless chicken farm. Exuma has a video on it. Lots of different people have videos on it. But the one thing we're going to add to it, of course, just to soup it up and make it ours, make it a CryinMo contraption. And I'm sure a lot of people have done this too. But, we want a delivery service, meaning we want, the chickens way down here. We don't want to come down here to grab chickens and feathers and then have to take our ladder all the way back up and all that nonsense. No, we want a minecart to bring us our chicken when it's ready. Okay, and as you can see down here, I just cleared out a big open area to build this in. We don't need quite this much space, and I actually probably needed to make it deeper, but as luck would have it, when I started carving this out, we are in the middle of 2 ravines, not 1, but 2. So there was a lot of open space, and of course there's mobs spawning everywhere like crazy. This laddering up here, this stair step here is going to be our our minecart track is going to run up that way. And this here I just thought was kind of interesting. I just let the water, there's a natural waterfall, natural from a cave, system running down. And yeah, we could get mobs coming up through here. That could be dangerous. But it runs down to some lava. If we need to access lava or whatever, we can get down there. But I might glass this in or something, we might see. Start with our track here, and this is where our cart's going to go. And that's going to have to be fired out. And then, of course, we need some of this. I need some more tracks here. And then we can go with these guys. And up we go here. In the rest position of the farm, we want this power track to be off. We only want that to go on when this thing is full of chicken and ready to go. Now, when I say full of chicken, that's relative because actually we're not going to let it. We won't wait till the whole thing fills up. Let me just move this over here. Go that way. There you go. All right, so the typical chicken farm, we're going to adjust it just a little bit. Typically, this would be in the regular design that you see from Exuma. This is facing into a chest that's right here, etc., etc. We just want this to go down here into our minecart chest. That's where our chickens are going to sit. Some glass here. We can come down and see the chickens if we want or whatever. Double stack dispenser here, 1 and 2. Minecon is coming up in the next few days, and that's when they're going to release all the information about 1.11. One thing that we know for sure in 1.11 is there's a new game rule, which can be turned off, no problem. But the game rule is that if there are more than 24 mobs in a 1 block area, the 25th and on mobs are going to suffocate and leave you with only 24 in a 1 block area at any given time. So a lot of people are freaked out. Oh, it's going to break mob farms, whatever. Well, you can literally just go in and type in the command to turn that game rule off and everything will work as normal. But, to have 24 mobs, like more than 24 landing in one area, the only area in our world right now that would kind of become killed by that is our ender. But even that's fine. You kill them and then more will drop. So as long as you're killing them, more will continue to drop and generate and they won't suffocate. But for like a chicken farm, some people put like hundreds of chickens, which I don't know why you would want hundreds, but they might put 50 chickens up here in the breeder area. And now you'll only be able to put 24. And of course I wrestled with the notion of making this an organic chicken farm, a grass-fed, cage-free, letting the chickens roam. And actually, we might end up doing that one day if we want to have more than 24, basically. And I already came up with a design for that. We could just use some water over signs and let the chickens swim, and their eggs would drop down into a trough that would run into this area, and it would be just fine. So we might actually expand that when we want to make it organic or something, Oh, you're kidding me. So we got one chicken and he's running free? Dude, go in there. There you go. There you go. Excellent. And of course these guys won't do anything until they start, until they grow up and start laying eggs. But there we go. So we got some chickens in there. See how atrocious this is? How inhumane? But Yeah, that's all we need here. So now this is ready to go. And now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of our little timer system. I got to lower the floor a little bit because what I need to put under here is a chest. So what I want is we want the eggs, the chickens and the feathers once they're in here and they get cooked by the lava. We want the eggs to, we want the chickens, the cooked chicken meat and the feathers to drop into this chest. And from this chest, they're going to go into our minecart chest. So this is what we want to have happen here. The reason I have to go down a couple blocks and I can't use this as it is with a chest minecart, and that has to do with taking a signal out of it with a comparator. Just so you can see, so with a minecart with a chest in it, and if I put items in here, it doesn't. This comparator will not read a signal from this device, from this entity right here. It will only read from a regular chest. So we can't measure the minecart with chest here. We have to put a regular chest. It has to be part of this step, part of this chain, in order for this thing to work. Poof, there we go. All right, so now we've got some space to work with down there. Oh, hello buddy over there. There's my buddy. So I know I'm gonna have a line that runs into this hopper because that's gonna be a lockable and unlockable hopper. Like, we need it to be locked for generally most of the time, and that line's gonna run out that way somewhere. And what we're going to do out the back here, let's lay down some of our stone brick because that's where we're going to put some of our redstone. Okay, so we're going to take a signal out of this chest. We want to know when this chest has 4 stacks in it. And at that point, we want it to unload all 4 stacks before it sends the minecart off, right? Right now, you can see over here there's no signal happening. There's nothing in the chest. As soon as we put in 1 stack, we get 1 signal, 1 redstone signal out. Now watch, when I put in the 2nd stack, I think it'll kick out the 2nd signal. Yep, there it goes. Now the 3rd stack doesn't actually kick out a full signal, I don't think. See, yeah, so 3 stacks are in there, but we're only getting 2 signal. We can use the length of the signal to trigger something when it reaches the amount that we want in here. 4, almost 4. And that gives us the signal strength of 3. If we take this stack out, signal strength of 2. So what we want to have happen is when it reaches signal strength 3 is when we want to go, oh, hey, that's got enough items, let's load the minecart and send it. We will put a repeater just far enough away so it will only get lit up once this chest receives 4 stacks. Now it's lit. So what we want to have happen is, like, when 4 stacks go into this chest, sends a signal out and says, hey, I've got 4 stacks. It's going to run through our mechanism over here, which is going to be a timer. And we needed to turn this off so that this hopper unlocks and lets all 4 stacks drain into this minecart chest. And then, once they're all gone, it needs to turn on that powered rail down there, which will make this cart drive away. And then we need to turn back off so it's ready when the cart comes back down to sit there and trap it until you get 4 more stacks. So we will let our redstone take a turn here. And we're going to put a torch here, put some redstone dust. So when this does turn on, it'll run a signal into this block here, which will turn this torch off. And this starts our whole timer system. 1 hopper into another hopper. We're going to use the same type of timer that we used in our farms above ground up there. And of course, I'm kind of blowing through this here. Without explaining too much. So that's all part of the clock, and it's very basic. Like I said, it's just the one we did over at the farm up there. The timer lets all the items drop down into the cart. Now we needed a way to turn this to turn on the power track, but we needed to turn on just long enough to send this cart, and then it needs to be off all of the rest of the time. And that was a little bit tricky to come up with. Let me say it was tricky for me to come up with. Not anybody who's really savvy with redstone, they would have come up with it pretty simple. We're just going to leave this on for now so we're not draining any items or anything. But it's going to run into there and keep that hopper locked. And then when there's 4 items stacked in there, sends a signal, boom, timer turns on. That will move the block over, which will turn this off. which means it'll unlock that hopper down there. Okay, so I've got everything laid in here, and now I can talk about it and explain what's happening, I think, a little better. So here's the wiring, and now here's what happens, right? When this timer turns on, this redstone block slides over to let the items start doing their timing thing. And when this slides over, it's going to power this redstone line without powering this guy. That's why we use a repeater here, so that they don't confuse each other. When this unpowers, this signal runs all the way down here, runs over, turns off, unlocks our hopper, lets the items drain. At the same time, this signal over here is going to let this torch turn on, and that will run a signal through these 3 delayed repeaters with 3 delays on them. This 4th repeater is going to become a locked repeater, a locking repeater. The delays are built in purely to add time to the on signal when we want that powered rail to turn on. I just wanted it to stay on longer than just a click or a tick. We want to stay on long enough to make sure that cart gets pushed all the way up the track and out of the way. This is a locking repeater, meaning there's another repeater faced into it, which means this repeater gets locked into whatever state it's in if this repeater is powered, which means even if it gets a signal here or doesn't get a signal, it will stay locked into whatever is going on this side of it if this is powered. If this is unpowered, this works like a normal, normal repeater. Nothing happens to it. It doesn't lock or unlock or anything like that. When that redstone block slides over and starts the timer, it also powers this. So this will power our locking repeater, and it will lock this repeater. And that torch becomes powered, sending power down here. Because this will be powered, it'll be locking this. So even though there's power coming through here, it'll stop. When the timer is done running, it'll click back over. The redstone block will go over. This will turn off to back where it is like this right now, which will unlock this repeater, which means, and then of course, this line will turn back off. We'll turn back on like it is now and turn this torch off, which will unpower these. But because these have been put with a delay, the power will sit in them for 3 ticks longer in each one, which means we get 9 more ticks of power. So there's a length of time once this turns off to this turning off. We have 9 ticks of power that will run through our line and turn on our powered rail. Again, I know it sounds super confusing if you don't know redstone, and it's confusing to me to explain it, and I know it's a pain, but let's watch it and see what happens. There it goes. The timer went. Now watch our signal down here. See how this is powered? It's turning that off even though there's power coming through here. Now it's going to drain our system. Is going to run through its timer of 42 items. And then this will turn off, which will allow this power to go through, but then it turns back off again. See? Perfect. Everything works great. Let's see if we've got 42 items in here. Let's see. 43 items. Close enough, right? Close enough. Maybe I'll take you with me as I lay this track down here just so I could talk to you a little bit about a new movie that I went to go see. Kira and I went and saw Kubo. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I do know guys that worked. In fact, if you watch the movie and you see the credit sequence at the end, the model shop credits, I think 5 of the 6 guys that worked on Kubo in the model shop, meaning they created a lot of the props, the items that the characters use, and the set dressing bits, all the detail items that you see on the sets and everything. That's what my friends created. As a movie goes, Kubo was very entertaining. It was very original. I will give it that for sure. And I thought that was very refreshing. It didn't follow the same standard sort of story tropes that we've seen in a lot of animated shows and stuff like that. So I thought it was very cool and fun to watch. My only gripes with it, really, if I had any gripes, was probably the very end. I was just very surprised at how they deal with the villain, and it seemed to wrap up like really quick, and I just didn't really understand as far as why they treated the villain like they did at the end. It seemed like he would have been more I don't know. I don't want to give anything away, so if you're going to watch it, you can check it out. Again, it's just my opinion. Doesn't mean anything, just my own personal opinion about it. But that said, I did really enjoy the designs of everything. All the characters were great, and the sisters in particular, I think everybody's gonna like the twin sisters, the evil sisters. Man, they were so much fun, and the animation, of course, is so fun to watch because it's just that slightly different, more realistic feel to it than pure CG animation. It just has that weird tactile quality, although they do mix a lot of CG in with it to make it work. But it's very fun to watch. The animation is very cool, so I think you get a kick out of it, and kids would really enjoy it, I think. 14 items. So we'll watch. It's off. It's going to drain to 14 items. Let's see if it kicks it, because the solid blocks behind it. That's what it is. There, that's all good. And then our regular track. I guess mobs aren't supposed to spawn on tracks now. I think that's correct. So we probably don't have to worry about that. But, you know, it's nice to have a little working light here. And now we should be what we call, in the professional world, golden. Alright, well, yeah, I couldn't quite leave it. Nah, I couldn't leave that all nasty down there. So I cleaned it up a little bit, just so you can see. We didn't leave it all nasty and gross. It's still kind of nasty and gross, of course, everywhere. But anyway, I slabbed everything off here. Hopefully that'll stop most of the slime spawning. Made it all sort of serviceable. It's still kind of cool. Like, I like how I got this natural river flowing through here. That's still kind of neat. But anyway, little access ways to get up into the machinery if we need to fix anything, etc., etc., and we can get out really easy. Tracks still go up. All that's the same. But just before I sign off, I did want to show you. One last thing. As you know, I use Optifine, and a lot of you probably use Optifine, or Optifine is very easy to install. That's why I use it, because it's easy. I did not know this whole time that this deal here, this grass side texture, is literally just a switch in Optifine. If you go into your quality settings and you go to better grass fast, it gives full side grass texture. I guess so. This is really just a stylistic thing. And in the cases here where it's like a hillside, I really enjoy it. I think it's very nice to see the grass side texture. I think it's new and kind of fresh. I like this. This is nice, I think, versus seeing the striation of the grass blocks going across, or the dirt on the side. So I'm digging this in these situations here. Now, even over here, that's kind of interesting still to see the full grass block on top of the dirt. It adds a lot here where I don't have to worry so much about seeing the raw dirt. But, that of course takes into account if we ever do a world download and you guys want to check out the world and stuff, or walk around yourselves, and you don't have Optifine installed, then of course you're going to see certain things where, it might look good in the series or in the show. And, if you walk around in the world and it doesn't have that turned on, you'd see just raw dirt there. So I'm not sure how to really handle that. I know guys like BOO and Wells Knight just have full on like altered texture packs that they just, they put the texture pack up for download with their worlds, etc. So for now, I guess I'll leave it on, but you guys can let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something about fried chicken delivery service. So you know what these two guys are. This is basically the start of our menagerie, because that's definitely one of the goals of this series, is I'm going to have I won't call it a zoo, although a zoo is probably the most accurate term. But I definitely want to have a wild animal park type thing, or zoo, however you want to call it, or museum of living objects. But I definitely want to collect one of everything and basically build like well, we'll get to that much later on in the series when we can collect one of everything. That's a big major project to get into, and of course that will be much later on. But apparently we've started our collection now. Okay guys, that's it for today. CryinMo is long gone and out of here, and you guys have a good one. See you next time.